how this upgrades the exhaust side of the turbo is it stops the, here you can see where the hoses exit. This is the actual hole that I cut into the frame here.
Perfect.
If you're new here, welcome to the Autolust YouTube channel. If you're already an Autolust family member, thank you. And what's swinging, gang? As you can see, we're back in the beautiful, soon to be the world's most powerful European SUV in history. Sasha, my baby. You know, Sasha has been through a lot of iterations, a lot of mods. You know, 90% of world first things that have ever been done to any BMW has been done on this car, you know, and on this platform, you know, so I'm proud to say that. But let's get right into this section of making the world's most powerful, quickest, fastest, highest horsepower, and everything else up under the sun European SUV in history. Let me show you guys where we're at. So if you remember on the last video, I'll put a link down in the description for that. I was showing you guys some of the world's first mods I was doing for this car, you know, and showing you some of the secret mods that I was doing as well. But today we've already started, and I'm about halfway done with plumbing up the Interchiller system the correct way. Because I'm sure you're aware, it's a few BMWs out there running chiller systems already. But outside of that, it's a few different ways you can run this chiller system. And I'm running it the most expensive, the most tedious, the most amount of work. Cut your frame, cut the frame of your car way that you can run it. But it's the correct way, you know, in my personal opinion, for this car to perform correctly and not cause problems. So let's get right into it and let me show you what I'm doing and what I've done already. If you guys hear any wind noise, it's because I have a fan sitting here blowing fresh air and circulating it into the garage because it's summertime here in Florida and it's deathly hot. So sorry for the noise, but I'm not turning it off. I mean, it shouldn't be that loud where you can't hear me. It's on a low setting, so let's get right into it. All right, so I told you guys on the last one that I had the turbos removed going to get highly modified. Well, my modified turbos going to get even higher, highly modified even more. So I actually received the exhaust sides back for my turbos and they're gorgeous. So I'm gonna show you those, but when the compressor sides come back, those are proprietary and I won't be showing you those. But I mean, you will get sneak peeks of the engine bay so you can see them, but I'll be able to show you exactly what the exhaust sides look like. All right, so if you can see down here, let me adjust that camera. I already have pretty much the chiller, the Interchiller, which this is. If you guys don't know what an Interchiller is, it uses the AC refrigerant to cool down whatever coolant you're using to cool down your intercoolers, which are these. So I have that pretty much plumbed up. Everything I'm using for this system is silicone, 100% silicone. And this silicone line, these silicone lines will be insulated once they're done. Well, once I'm done with testing, I'm gonna go back and insulate those lines, because you know you can't have any drips and stuff like that on the racetrack. They tell you to cut the AC off, but for my system I need the AC to be on in order to drag race the correct way. So everything will be insulated, just like this tank. My Interchiller tank is insulated in bed liner, Raptor liner, Herculiner. I use Herculiner, and it's extremely thick and rubbery, and you know that's gonna stop that tank from sweating and dripping on the track. But so this is the actual hole that I cut into the frame here. Yes, I have edge protection for you keyboard warriors, and I've already sprayed it with rust converter black paint that dries like rock hard, and it converts any rust. There was no rust there. It's a, you know, pretty much brand new front front apron, but I sprayed it on there anyways just in case. And I also had to spray it on this back side here where the hose kind of dips through there, you know. And this is one of the return lines for the intercooler. Once the fluid goes through the intercoolers and it returns back to the tank, it's used on this return line here. And I'm putting a 90-degree there anyways, you know, because you can't bend that like that. You see it a kink, so it'll be a 90-degree bend, silicone bend there. I have a couple of 90s on this car, which I'll show you soon, and that'll help get this hose and this return hose from the interchiller to this tank in that port right there, you know. And this part here, we're running this AC line, and this hose wasn't too hard since it's only plastic there. And once you're running the chiller system, you can remove, you know, the factory heat exchanger that used to be used for the coolers, because it'd be counterproductive. All you're going to do is heat the air back up to whatever, heat your charge air back up to whatever the ambient temperature is blowing through that heat exchanger. So you want to remove all factory heat exchangers once you go interchiller to intercooler. And I also have a custom transmission cooler set up, so there's no transmission cooler down there in the bottom like it is on the factory one. I have a race transmission cooler with its own coolant circuit, its own fan, temperature sensors, inline thermostats, and all of that, you know, fully custom, and it cools a million times. I mean, the factory could never compete with this. So you see I had to remove the head like that's to, you know, get this drilled pretty good. And I wasn't able to get access to this size for obvious reasons, like the brake module is right here for the ABS module is right here for the brakes, and there's no way I could get my drill in there. So I had to cut this side, open this side up bigger, and then continue on through. These holes were already in the frame. They've just been opened up a little more with this middle one anyways. So it's not causing any structural integrity because these holes were already there. You know, they're just opened up a little. So I'm sure it'll be fine, especially just to run one hose through. And these actually are my custom made intercooler hoses, which are way bigger than the factory hoses, as you can see with me holding that. The factory hoses are smaller than 3/4. These things are huge. So these are what I'm going to use for those. And if you can see down here on the bottom, nothing is where it's supposed to be yet down in here. So don't judge how messy it is. But you can see the other hose. If I can move that out the way, you can almost see the other hose going to the bottom of the intercooler. But I'm going to go under the car soon and see if I can show you that. Yeah, so all of that is run perfectly. So I'm going to show you here on the side of the tank. I also have the 1.5 inch and the 1 inch hoses ran coming down, and then they're looped up under the car, which I'm going to go under the car and show you that. And there's no clamps on these fittings yet where it's silicone to silicone with a union in the middle or a joiner in the middle, because I will be using the Gates power grip on all of those, because I don't want worm gear clamps or T-bolt clamps all through my systems chafing on everything. So this is literally the best stuff you can use, and this stuff was made for silicone hoses. It's like heat shrink, but it's extremely thick, and I think it's a crazy PSI rating on it. I mean, you'll probably pop this hose before you pop that clamp, you know. So those are the clamps I'm going to be using. So let's get up under this car.
A few moments later.
Okay, so I rarely take my Osmo Pocket off of the gimbal, but I'm pretty much holding the camera that's this big right now. Let me show you, that tall and about that skinny, just so I can get it under this car, because I couldn't get the entire rig under this car. But as you can see, this is my split pump here. Well, one of the pumps, this is the 100 pump, and I have a 400 pump here, as you can see right there. And they do they're connected to the same systems, but they have two different jobs to do. You know, I don't know how the bottom of my interchiller insulation got so beat up. I think because I had this pump zip tied to it first before I made a custom bracket for it to hold it in place. So as you can see, this hose here is coming from the 400 pump, and it snakes its way around, and none of this stuff will be visible with the fender liner on it. You know, everything will be covered. The only thing will be visible is this hose coming through, which will be, you know, mounted to the bottom of the body or runs along this piece of plastic here. And here you can see where the hoses exit the interchiller here to be ran up front to this hose and the 100 pump hose. So yeah, that's pretty much, I mean, this system is almost done, you know, so it's just a few more things to do. And as you can see, if you've never seen the video for my 3.5 inch exhaust, this is also the world's first BMW with full 3.5 inch exhaust and downpipes. My downpipes are also full 3.5 inch with a custom resonator chamber, and you can see the exhaust dumps down before the rear axle. So I mean, this car is a straight monster. Also have a custom front drive shaft and a 4-inch carbon fiber rear drive shaft or main drive shaft. And this is part of the transmission cooler system I have. As you can see, some of it is right there, but I don't want to go too much into that. You know, that's a lot of proprietary stuff. But let me pop from up under this car and show you guys the exhaust side of the turbos that came in. So I actually moved one of the exhaust housings outside. And as you can see, this thing looks gorgeous because it actually looks like a coating is on here. And after they finish modifying the exhaust side of the turbo, they sandblast it with a it has to be like a glass bead media, and then they bake it at like a high temp, and it gives it this, you know, this gorgeous finish. It's almost, I mean, it's immaculate. It looks just like some type of coating. But what I had done to the exhaust side is, I mean, you can tell right off bat that the wastegate flapper is totally different. And you can see it's welded there behind the arm, and also here. And the upgrade that this does is, well, how this upgrades the exhaust side of the turbo is it stops the flapper from being able to leak boost out. You know, it literally seals, it seals all the way around. You could actually hear the seal. Hold on. Like, I mean, it's crazy. And it's sealed literally all the way around. And what makes this even better than the factory style exhaust wastegate flappers is you can see it moves around. So in case it was any reason, you know, that it wasn't getting the best seal, it's able to move a few millimeters in any direction, you know, to be able to get the best seal. As you can see there, it moves around, so it's a floating foot, and it's a lot heavier than the standard wastegate. So when it closes, it clamps closed, and any type of little air pockets, it tries to seal those out, even though it's not, you know, 100% airtight, since it's metal on metal. But that's about as airtight as you're gonna get in the turbo game, you know, with this here, with this wastegate flapper. So that was the upgrade that I had done on the exhaust side. And this upgrade can be done, I know Pure Turbos, they offer this wastegate upgrade. I think it's $150 per side, and they clean it up like this for free. You know, my turbos didn't have a lot of miles on them anyways, or hours on them anyways, so they were pretty much brand new looking, but they didn't look this good. So yeah, I just wanted to give you guys, you know, a little sneak peek into the exhaust modification I had done. You can see the exhaust side of the turbos look immaculate. You know, those new flapper feet with the, you know, movable foot on it. I mean, that's gonna be a real deal help when it comes to controlling exhaust gases in the turbine side of the turbocharger. So next video, I'm hopefully, you know, everything comes in. Most of the parts that I'm waiting on will be here, I think tomorrow, between today and tomorrow. Maybe 1 or 2 fittings I'm waiting on that'll be here Monday. But hopefully next video I can show you guys the system up and running, so you can see exactly how this split interchiller system works and the actual intake temps that it brings. I mean, it's gonna be crazy because it's 3 different ways I can run this system, and was 3 different levels of me running this system. You know, like it has a regular level, ride around and cool down, you know, just a ride around level, which is pretty much everybody else's kill mode level, my ride around level. And then it has a true kill mode level, which you don't want to be on the side of it when it's time to race, when it's in that level, so on that level. So I mean, this project has been just a gem from the start, you know, and I'm extremely excited on, you know, where she's headed and what we've been doing to her lately. You know, I mean, it's crazy. And you know, stick around for more updates on Olivia as well. Olivia has a bunch of updates coming, power and performance updates at that. You know, and if you guys never saw, if you're new here and you never seen the videos for Olivia, I'm gonna leave the link down in the description for her playlist, so you can see all, you know, the tons of stuff we've done to this 7 series already. So pretty much, you know, thank you very much, AutoLust family, you know, for always showing your support and supporting the channel. And like, share, subscribe, and AutoLust out.